What's up, everyone? Welcome back. If you've been following XRP, you already know that we are at one of the most critical moments in the entire legal battle between Ripple and the SEC. And there's one date that's got everyone on edge: July 24. That's when the SEC is holding its next closed-door meeting, and many in the XRP community are wondering, is this the moment the SEC drops its appeal? This question isn't just legal drama. It could have massive implications for XRP's future, for its price, and for the entire crypto space. So today, we're going deep. I'm going to walk you through where the case stands right now, what's been happening behind the scenes, why July 24th matters so much, and what it would actually mean for XRP if the SEC drops the appeal, or if it doesn't. So let's start with a quick recap of where we are. The SEC first filed its lawsuit against Ripple back in December of 2020. They alleged that Ripple had sold XRP as an unregistered security. That triggered a wave of panic across the market. XRP got delisted from major US exchanges. The price plummeted. And for years, XRP was basically stuck in a legal gray zone. Fast forward to 2023, we got the game-changing ruling from Judge Torres. In that ruling, the court declared that XRP is not a security when sold on secondary markets. That was a massive win for Ripple, for the XRP community, and for the future of crypto in the United States. It was the first time a federal judge had essentially said, this token is not a security when traded on exchanges. That ruling immediately sent XRP soaring, and many saw it as a turning point, not just for Ripple, but for the entire industry. Now, here in 2025, we've reached the final stretch. Ripple has already paid its $125 million fine, not in XRP, but in cash. That's an important detail because it means Ripple isn't dumping tokens on the market to pay off the settlement. It also signals that Ripple is looking to close this chapter and move on to the next phase of growth. Not only that, Ripple has also officially withdrawn its cross-appeal. So they're not pushing back anymore. They're ready to wrap things up. That leaves only one party still potentially dragging this thing out: the SEC. And this is where July 24th becomes so important. The SEC has a regularly scheduled closed-door meeting on that date. It's called a Sunshine Act meeting, and it's where the commissioners discuss legal strategy, enforcement actions, settlements, and other confidential matters. And this time, there's strong speculation that one of the key items on the agenda will be whether to move forward with the appeal or drop it entirely. Now, a lot of smart people have weighed in on this. Legal analysts like James K. Fillon, John Deaton, and even some former SEC lawyers have said that this meeting could be the moment when the SEC officially decides to drop the appeal. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense when you look at the bigger picture. Let's ask the question, why would the SEC keep fighting? They've already forced Ripple to pay a significant penalty. They've already clarified that institutional sales may still fall under securities laws. But they've also seen their own arguments weakened by multiple judges, not just in the Ripple case, but in the Terraform Labs ruling, where another judge confirmed that XRP is not a security when traded by the public. So from a legal strategy standpoint, continuing the appeal might do more damage than good. If the SEC appeals and loses again, it sets an even stronger precedent that limits their power. That's risky. Then there's the political side. The SEC is under pressure right now, not just from crypto advocates, but from Congress, from lawmakers, and from within its own ranks. The passage of the Genius Act has already signaled a regulatory shift, pushing authority away from the SEC and toward more defined crypto regulation. With the 2024 election behind us and the political winds changing, Gensler and the SEC may be trying to close out controversial cases to avoid embarrassment or political backlash. Also, there's the optics. Continuing to battle Ripple in court when the rest of the world is moving toward crypto adoption, when XRP is getting relisted, when real-world use cases are expanding, it just makes the SEC look outdated, like they're fighting the last war. While the market evolves without them. So what happens if they finally drop the appeal on July 24? Let's talk about what that means. First and foremost, it would be the official end of the Ripple lawsuit. No more appeals. No more uncertainty. XRP would become the first major altcoin in US history to gain legal clarity through a full court process. Think about that. XRP wouldn't just be relisted, it would be compliance-ready. Banks, payment processors, asset managers, and institutional investors could now integrate XRP into their platforms without fearing legal risk. That opens the floodgates. Then there's the ETF question. Right now, we already have a leveraged XRP futures ETF from ProShares, ticker UXRP. That's a foot in the door. If the SEC drops the appeal, analysts believe a spot XRP ETF becomes significantly more likely. Bloomberg's ETF experts have pegged the odds at over 85% for 2025. And let's not forget, Ripple is positioning itself to become a federally regulated entity. They've applied for a trust charter. They're launching their own stablecoin, Rust, fully backed and running on the XRP ledger. That's not just about XRP price action. That's about ecosystem growth. With the legal cloud gone, institutional money could begin pouring into XRP. And that changes everything. Let's talk numbers. Where could XRP go if the SEC drops the appeal? We've already seen it break out of a 6-year symmetrical triangle with volume confirmation. The first resistance is around $4.50, then $5.50, then potentially $6.19 if Fibonacci extensions play out. Veteran traders like Peter Brandt have even suggested we could see a 60% rally from current levels, with long-term targets pushing $10 or more, especially if a spot ETF is announced. But what if the SEC doesn't drop the appeal? Well, honestly, wouldn't be the end of the world. It would just mean more delays. It wouldn't reverse the court ruling. XRP would still be not a security for public sales. Ripple would still have paid the fine, and exchanges would still be free to list XRP. Yes, the market might pull back temporarily. There could be a sell the news dip or short-term consolidation. But long-term, the fundamentals are already in place. Most experts believe the SEC's chances of winning on appeal are very slim. So even if they continue the fight, it's likely just dragging out the inevitable. So here's where I stand personally. I believe the SEC is going to drop the appeal. The pressure is too high, the optics are too bad, and they've already gotten most of what they wanted from Ripple. Dragging this out only risks another legal defeat. And Ripple? They're already building for the next phase. As a trader, I'm positioning accordingly. I've accumulated XRP during the $3 to $3.40 range. If the SEC drops the appeal, I expect we'll quickly see XRP break past $4.50. After that, I'm watching $5.50 and $6.19 as targets. But I'll be laddering out gradually, because you never know how quickly markets move in these moments. And even if the SEC delays, I'm not shaken. The structure is bullish. The fundamentals are solid. XRP is one of the few altcoins with legal clarity, enterprise use, and a functioning payment ecosystem. That's rare. The bottom line. July 24th may be the moment XRP finally sheds the last weight holding it down. No more court drama. No more fear. Just momentum. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the SEC will finally drop its appeal on July 24th? What price are you targeting if they do? And are you holding, buying, or waiting for confirmation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be replying to as many as I can. If you found value in this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Thanks for watching, and as always, XRP to the moon. Let's go.